Sometimes we think things aren't going the way we want, but we must trust that God has a plan for each of us. He is preparing you for something great, and when the time comes, you'll understand why every challenge was necessary. Let's begin. Rule 1. Faith is your greatest strength. Since I was a child, my mother taught me the importance of faith in God. Growing up in a home with strong values gave me the confidence to face tough moments. When I started my acting career, I faced rejection after rejection. Every audition filled me with hope, but the answer was always the same: no. Those constant rejections struck my confidence, but instead of giving up, I held on tighter to God. I knew that if He had placed a desire in my heart, it was because He had a purpose for me. Even when I couldn't understand why things weren't working out, I trusted He was preparing something better. Faith doesn't mean everything will be easy. It means knowing that every test has a purpose. God taught me that even if I don't see results right away, I must keep moving forward. If you're facing uncertainty, remember this: God is not done with you. Every challenge is part of His divine plan. Rule 2. Don't fear failure. God is shaping you. Failure isn't a sign that you're not good enough. It's an opportunity to grow. Early in my career, I was rejected so many times I began to doubt myself. But over time, I realized that God wasn't punishing me. He was shaping me. Every no was a reminder that I wasn't ready yet. God doesn't give us what we want when we want it. He gives it to us when we are ready. If I had been handed a lead role without facing rejection and failure, I wouldn't have known how to handle it. Each fall made me stronger. Every obstacle forced me to grow. If you feel like you failed too many times, remember, every successful person has faced setbacks. Don't let fear stop you. God is preparing something far bigger than you can imagine. Keep pushing forward. Rule 3. God always has a plan. Sometimes we get frustrated when things don't happen as we want, but we must remember that God sees beyond what we can understand. Once, while helping at my mother's beauty salon, a woman looked at me and said something that would change my life forever. God has a purpose for you. You will travel the world and speak to millions. At the time, I couldn't understand her words. But as life unfolded, I realized that God had already mapped out my journey. His plans don't always align with our timing, but they are always perfect. Every experience, good or bad, was leading me to the place He wanted me to be. When God closes a door, it's not to punish you. It's to guide you to something better. Trust Him, even when you don't see it yet. What seems like a delay today will be a blessing tomorrow. Rule 4. Hard work and discipline are God's tools. Nothing in life comes without effort and dedication. When I landed my first major film role, it wasn't because of luck. It was because of years of preparation. Countless hours of study, rehearsals, and hard work laid the foundation for that success. God doesn't hand out success. He gives you the tools to earn it. Talent is valuable, but without hard work, it means nothing. I've met incredibly talented people who never achieved their dreams because they weren't willing to put in the work. Every sacrifice has a purpose. Even when you don't see immediate results, trust that perseverance will eventually pay off. God rewards those who work with love, commitment, and discipline. Rule 5. Gratitude opens doors. Gratitude is one of the most powerful attitudes you can have. From a young age, I learned that being grateful brings me closer to God and new opportunities. Too often we ask for more without realizing how blessed we already are. When you live with gratitude, your life transforms. In my career, I've seen how gratitude attracts the right people and opens new doors. Directors appreciate those who show humility and value the opportunities given to them. The same applies to every area of life. Gratitude keeps you grounded and connected to your roots. God blesses those who appreciate what they have. Don't wait for everything to be perfect to be thankful. Start today. Gratitude will open doors you never imagined. This is just the beginning. These are just the first 5 rules that have guided me through life, but there's more. In the second part, I'll share the remaining 5 lessons, each one as powerful as the last. Prepare to discover how to reinvent yourself, live with purpose, and surround yourself with the right people. Remember, success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who believe, act, and never stop striving for something greater. Rule 6. Trust that God is preparing you for something greater. Sometimes, life doesn't go the way we planned. The setbacks, the struggles, they feel overwhelming. But what if I told you that every challenge is part of a divine plan? That God is preparing you for something bigger than you could ever imagine? When I faced rejection after rejection early in my career, I questioned everything. Every failed audition, every closed door seemed like a confirmation that I wasn't enough. But instead of giving up, I leaned on God. I knew that if He had placed a dream in my heart, it was for a reason. Even when I couldn't see it, I trusted that He was working behind the scenes. Faith is not about having an easy life. It's about knowing that every test has a purpose. Every day is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to trust the path God has laid out for you. If you're facing uncertainty today, remember this: God never makes mistakes. Your struggle today is shaping you for something extraordinary. Rule 7. Failure is not the end. It's part of God's plan. Failure is not a sign that you're not good enough. It's God's way of shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for what's next. Early in my journey, I failed more times than I could count. Each rejection felt like a punch to the gut, but every failure was God's way of preparing me for my breakthrough. God doesn't give us what we want when we want it. He gives it to us when we're ready. If I had received my dream role too early, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. Every fall, every disappointment strengthened me. It forced me to grow and prepared me for the moment when the right opportunity came. If you feel like you failed too many times, remember this: every successful person has faced setbacks. Don't let fear hold you back. God is molding you into something far greater than you can imagine. Keep pushing, keep growing, and trust His plan. Rule 8. God always has a plan, even when you can't see it. We often get frustrated when things don't go the way we want, but God sees what we can't. When I was younger, a woman looked at me and said something I'll never forget. God has a purpose for you. You will travel the world and speak to millions. At the time, I didn't understand her words, but as life unfolded, I realized God had been orchestrating everything all along. God's timing rarely aligns with ours, but His plans are always perfect. What feels like a delay today will be a blessing tomorrow. Every obstacle, every closed door is God redirecting you to something better. If things aren't going as planned, hold on to your faith. God is preparing something far greater than you could ever imagine. Rule 9. Discipline and effort, God's tools for success. Nothing worth having comes without effort. When I landed my first major role in film, it wasn't by chance. It was the result of years of preparation. Every early morning studying scripts, every late night rehearsal, every sacrifice was part of God's process. God doesn't hand out success. He gives us the tools to achieve it. Talent without hard work is wasted potential. I've seen incredibly talented people fail because they weren't willing to give their all. But I've also seen those who, despite not having as much natural talent, succeeded because they never stopped working. Every sacrifice has a purpose. You may not see the results immediately, but if you keep working with discipline and faith, you will eventually reap the rewards. God rewards perseverance, not laziness. Keep going and trust that your effort will bear fruit in due time. Rule 10. Gratitude opens doors. You never imagine gratitude is one of the most powerful attitudes you can adopt. From a young age, I learned that being thankful for what I had drew me closer to God and opened new doors. Too often, we focus on what we lack and forget the incredible blessings we already have. Gratitude changes everything. In my career, I've seen how gratitude can create unexpected opportunities. Directors and producers appreciate those who show humility and appreciation. The same is true in every area of life. Gratitude keeps us grounded and connected to our roots. When we remember where we come from and who helped us along the way, we become more aware and more humble. God blesses those who appreciate and value what they have. Every day is an opportunity to give thanks. Don't wait for things to be perfect. Thank God today and watch how new doors begin to open. The journey continues. What's next is in God's hands. These 5 rules are not just lessons, they are reminders of God's presence in your life. Trust that He is working in every detail, every challenge, and every victory. If you've made it this far, it means you're ready to step into the purpose God has for you. Keep believing, keep growing, and never stop trusting His plan. He is preparing you for something bigger than you could ever imagine.